okay to care about getting all your vitamins?
The handle broke off the butt plug.
Sounds like you got tapeworms, bud.
What an insolent little bitch.
The Timothy Theater is like jazz. It's more about the kids who don't come.
Do not let Connie you out.
Tom and Mr. Whitaker are gay boys who fuck.
Tom Riley. More like Tom Ride Me.
Because I'm trusting God doesn't mean we have to publicly discuss my finances.
Chris is a coward.
Crushing God, waiting on the Lord.
But whenever I try to quote the gay Bible, all these kids start throwing things at me.
Let's just start our podcast. Should we start our podcast?
I already started it. I already said welcome to Two Wits, One Cup. Welcome to Two Wits, One Cup. The show where we don't create dating sites for dogs.
You said that exactly as if you were saying, welcome to McDonald's.
Welcome to Two Wits, One Cup. What can I get for you today? I'm sorry, we don't have the McRib anymore. I'm sorry, we don't have the Shamrock Shake anymore either. I'm sorry, sir. You're just going to have to go fuck yourself.
I can't believe you called the person sir. That's bold in the year 2024. All right, welcome to Two Wits, One Cup.
What is a gender-neutral sir or ma'am?
I know, English doesn't have one. This is a queer podcast where we re-listen to Adventures in Odyssey.
The best show for the best people.
The best show for the best people. And even though only two of us have been talking, and there's the word two, the podcast is called Two Wits, One Cup, there are three people on this podcast.
It's me. I'm the poop in the cup.
Nice. That was... Wow. No, we're keeping it. We're keeping it. I like it.
I don't think the self-esteem is coming across well.
I don't... Yeah. Especially when we, like... I feel like at some point we'll have to declare what kind of queers we are. Then people will feel really bad.
Well, I mean, we could also just leave it open to interpretation so that they can apply whatever they would like to us. We can be the blank canvas, as they say, for their own projection.
And then whatever they project onto us is what they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are a reflection of you, audience.
Is that what we're about to do with Adventures in Odyssey episodes?
Yes.
Oh my
Thank
goodness,
you for
they should make
keeping
a
us on
podcast
track.
about that.
Oh, guys, there is... I looked on the internet. I think we are the first non-Christian Adventures in Odyssey podcast. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
That I could find, at least. Also, that's
wait.
Yeah.
You don't believe in God?
I believe in God as a woman.
What?
Oh.
What are you going to tell me?
That's Snip there. She's just doing a little bit. Don't worry, people. You found the right podcast. We are the world's first non-Christian Adventures in Odyssey podcast, and we're all queers.
And the world's first non-Christians as well.
Yeah, that's true. Pioneering a whole new style of living. So therefore, we are the first.
Begin their testimony, and they're like, "Oh, we grew up Christian," and then they dive into a whole diatribe about their miracles that they happen to perform. We could just be like, "We grew up fundamentalist," and that's just it.
Yeah, evangelical. That's evangelical's the word. Yeah, we're evangelicals. I kind of also
We're very
hate
familiar
that term.
with the realm in which Odyssey was produced and consumed.
Yeah. Well, let's introduce who we are. I'm Percy.
Are you going to do pronouns or?
Oh, all of them, but most often he, him. But what people really want to know is, do they have a penis? And yes, I do.
Wow. Brag about it. My name is Parsnip, also known as Snip, Snippy Snap, Snapperoo, Snappy. I go by she, her. I, infamously, do not have a penis. Infamous? Not sure why. The internet is a weird place. And I just assumed someday I will be famous for it.
Yep.
And I'm Pigeon. I use they, them pronouns.
Yeah, and if it ever sounds like we're calling Pidge bitch, we might be, but just assume we're saying Pidge.
Much like the ambiguity of what you're hearing, the status of my genitals is also ambiguous.
Yay!
Oh my god, we have one of each!
Yay, the 3 genders.
That's it. There's only 3.
Yeah.
No more, no less.
We've got the penis covered, we've got the vagina covered, and the cloaca. Yay!
Oh
Pigeon!
Snip and Pigeon are married, so technically Snip is allowed to say that, I guess.
Yes, technically.
So,
And soon,
yeah.
Percy will be married into our relationship as well, so just give it time.
I don't remember what we were talking about before we went to a break to tell you a little bit about our sponsors. I hope you really loved that Focus on the Family commercial.
Hey, do you want kids that are absolutely terrified of their parents and will definitely not talk to them in adulthood? Focus on the Family might be the best option for you. www.focusonthefamily.con
Org. Connie Kendall.
Connie Kendall.
Because we're here to talk about Adventures in Odyssey.
This is 2 wits, 1 cup.
Oh, we're starting completely over.
Who knows?
I just thought
We're just doing it. We're just doing it. I think it's a good reminder, honestly. Thanks, Pitch. Yeah. Okay. If there are listeners, I don't know how you would end up on an Adventures in Odyssey podcast without knowing what Adventures in Odyssey is. We're talking about the Christian radio drama for children that was created by Focus on the Family. Snip and I grew up listening to it a lot. Pidge, you grew up listening to it some?
Occasionally, mostly a visual medium was what I consumed. I did not consume the audio drama to quite the degree that you both seem to have.
That's really interesting. Snip, do you think that the video, that the video, should we consider that canon? Should we let Pidge get away with that?
You know, I don't want to come down too harshly here. Considering we were minors, they had no concept of good art.
Yes.
You know, they also, were a child-age person and didn't choose what their family bought for them to consume for media. So I think for those reasons, I kind of want to give them some credit, but ultimately, Cancelvania.
Hell yeah.
Does it help if I received the things for free from a Christian radio station? Does that help?
No, I don't even know how it would help.
It doesn't help, but it does provide some more backstory to why you are a relevant party on this podcast. You may not have listened to Adventures in Odyssey, but your life was very much consumed with the social effects of Adventures in Odyssey.
We'll say that you can be on the podcast because you also grew up in a real fucked up evangelical environment, even if you didn't grow up wanking to Connie Kendall.
So in the credits, it's going to say featuring Percy and Snip, guest star Pidge. I'm sorry,
Yes.
That's just how it's got to be.
I'm okay with that. I will allow it.
Okay, and then we also make an extra 5% off of each of these
Yeah.
Focus on the Family ads that we have to do.
And then that's nothing against you. It was just best practice according to our lawyers.
It's not docking your pay. It is
No.
it's just ensuring that the shareholders are as comfortable with the arrangement as possible.
And it's not docking your pay. It's paying you less from the beginning. So it's fine.
And it's not because you're trans.
No.
We're just setting expectations.
I love that you're on our side. Thank you, Pidge. You came to the immediately.
Pidge
Always
is the
yes
ultimate
and.
ally. Pidge is the ultimate
Yeah,
ally.
Pidge is they're the ultimate yes and.
If no one will be my ally, I guess I might be not.
You know, even though they're a guest star, I am really glad that Pidge is here. I'm really glad to have a normie brain that's not been obsessed with these characters since I can remember.
Yeah.
So I think it's more that they're the control group, I think, for how poisoned our brains are.
That is a really, really good point. Do you want to tell them what episode we listened to and why we picked that episode?
This episode that we are talking about is episode 457, Opportunity Knocks, originally released December 2nd, 2000.
That was a long time ago.
Pre 9/11.
Pre 9/11. This is back when we were innocent.
Never forget.
Hey, where were you on 9/11?
I was at school.
Same.
Me too. I just thought it would be nice to kind of process it since I processed
Wasn't
it
it
last
great
week.
to be a minor, to be a child processing the horrors unfolding before your eyes on TV?
You know, the truly unfair thing, though, is so many more of us are diagnosed with ADHD now in 2024 than we were in 2001. And all of these big events keep getting called numbers, and I can't keep them straight. It was just 9/11 first, and then it was 1/6, and then it was October 7th, and I can't keep this straight, and I feel really bad whenever I mix them up because they were very impactful days for some people.
Those are just dates. I don't know. Like, whatever. It's fine.
Am I poison brained?
Yeah.
No, I completely agree with you.
Yeah, okay. Percy, you're the one that's in the wrong here. I'm sorry to tell
fine.
you, but...
Fine,
yeah.
fine. Okay, but I want to just congratulate us for saying 3 facts about the episode in 25 minutes.
Efficiency.
Yeah. Okay, so Pidge didn't touch on it, but we chose Opportunity Knocks. Weirdly, episode 457, because we're going to begin with the Novacom story arc.
The Andromeda.
Technically, I think Andromeda is a spoiler.
But, for Pidge's sake, we shouldn't spoil anything. But
Yeah,
you
yeah.
did say at the beginning of the show that whoever's listening to this has already listened to these apps. So,
Well, maybe not necessarily this ep, just are as familiar with the show and what it is.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, I think, Snip, you would agree, the Novacom arc is Adventures in Odyssey at its best.
Definitely. And not its most terrifying. I think its most terrifying definitely goes to a couple of other episodes that we've previously discussed together and with our therapists. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure that this hits the top of the scariest episodes, but it's up there. It's pretty upsetting.
These episodes, the Novacom arc, came out when we were the prime age for Adventures in Odyssey, which I think is why it's memorable for us. If you somehow aren't familiar with the Novacom arc, it stretched from 2000 to 2002 across 28 episodes to start get intrigue and mystery and murder and it's pretty spooky sometimes. Like, there are specific lines that I'm going to hear and I'm immediately going to tense up. So
I'm concerned about one particular episode.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what that's like for you two. That's going to be really fun for me.
I wonder how much of it is we're actually scared and how much of it is just a general trauma response.
Touche.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, let's just get into Opportunity Knocks. We're going to open with candid conversations with Connie.
Wait. You always do this in our conversations about this show. Let's back up for a second about the no that Tom Riley says like 6 times in the intro. No,
they were really having a fun time with that.
I don't think... Is there any other episode like that? That they're like that goofy?
We'll find out. That's why we started this podcast.
They started the series with the zoomies. I love it. I really enjoyed that intro. Well, I was hyped at the beginning because I couldn't remember Tom Riley doing a whole lot of intros, and I love Tom Riley. Big Tom Riley stan here.
I think this whole podcast is pro Tom Riley.
Pidge, we need a determination. Pro Tom Riley?
Oh yeah. We stand.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we'll get more into the mythos of Tom Riley here in a bit. Our mythos of Tom Riley. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about him too. But yeah, it was exciting to have him do the intro to the show because he's a main character. We don't start with him though. All right. We'll start with Candid Conversations with Connie, a fantastic radio show. Connie's radio show.
And is this not a great follow-up, an interesting podcast asking questions to interesting people?
Yeah. Thank you for pointing out that she calls it she said, like, the tagline is where interesting people talk about interesting things.
Yeah, that was pretty great. And then immediately following that description up with Harlow Doyle thought there was a child missing. And issues public apology for drawing a chalk outline of a missing child on somebody else's side or driveway.
Yeah. Like, Harlow Doyle lives in a constant state of, like, fantastical psychosis and platforming Harlow Doyle on Candid Conversations with Connie is deeply irresponsible journalism. Harlow Doyle is basically an InfoWars guest.
He is. And I kind of wonder about, I'm about to show my whole ass here, Percy, and I'm going to pre-apologize for it.
Okay.
What is the name of... Oh, no, I remembered. I was going to ask you the name of the guy that had the slide exit to his house, but it's Wooten.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about Wooten. He also strikes me as men's activist parallel, and I just think it's something we need to keep an eye on.
Okay, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that because we're going to meet Wooten. He's introduced to the series in this arc.
He's very charismatic, I will warn you. Do not fall for it. You need to stay alert.
Yeah, he is like the snake in the Jungle Book with the eyes.
Yeah, with the twirling. Yes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like Parsnip said, I was gonna call you Hannah because I've been watching Pretty Little Liars. I don't know why. You're giving
The
off
name's Parsnip, Hannah Parsnip.
You're giving off Hannah Marin vibes today. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, Harlow. He said he was investigating a missing child, and it rightly concerned a lot of the shows, and they were calling in. So Connie had to just say, no, he was confused. If you don't remember, Harlow Doyle is the private investigator in Odyssey, which
Detective.
does beg Harlow Doyle, private eye.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Private eye.
Does ACAB apply to private investigators?
That's an excellent question.
I know, right?
Actually.
I'm
going to say it. Private investigators are the bounty hunters of, well, not motorcycle people, I guess.
What? That made no sense, but I loved it. Okay,
But you got the energy of it.
I think they contribute to the surveillance state, so yes.
Okay,
ACAB includes them.
That's great.
This is a pro Tom Riley, anti Harlow Doyle podcast.
We are, if nothing, fans of the working class.
Suspicious of Wooten.
Wooten is working class, but just because you're working class doesn't mean you're good, right?
Is he working class? Because he's got a giant toy collection. I wonder where the funds for that came from.
He's a postal worker.
Oh, he's unionized. Way to go.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
We love Wooten Bassett.
Yeah, candid conversation with Connie. Then after her explanation of Harlow Doyle's behavior, she brings on Tom Riley to talk about the Timothy Center. Paige did not know what the Timothy Center was or what it was referring to. So I, right off the bat, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. The Timothy Center is named after Tom Riley's son, Timothy, that drowned.
We hear that drowning in an episode, and then I do believe that drowning is retconned to say that God drowned Timmy, so 20 years later, Tom could help the friend who didn't die find Jesus. I do believe that's how the show retcons that.
The role of children in this show is exclusively to like virtue signal the purity, the pure mind of a child, to be like, and I'm pretty sure that Timothy also drowned because he was saving somebody else from drowning.
And I think they say that, like Tom later says that, well, Timmy drowned to save you, like Jesus died to save you. So
Perfect.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's
This
fine.
is really healthy and appropriate.
Yeah.
Just right off the bat. Okay, so that's the Timothy Center.
So what need would they have for... I was like, what would they have for so much money? They're in financial trouble. What did they spend it on?
We haven't gotten to the financial trouble yet, Paige. We're just setting up... Yeah, you're speeding... You're zooming ahead. We've only taken 29 minutes... we've got all 29 minutes to get this far. There's no skipping. We got to get every important detail into the podcast.
I do think it's important that we are explaining details because we don't want people to have to go back and listen to this if they don't want to.
That's true. We don't want to draw any more audience to focus on the family.
Yeah. So the Timothy Center, though, it's like a Christian camp and retreat center. And Tom is the owner and operator of it. And this is important to know. According to the canon of this podcast, Tom and Mr. Whitaker are gay boys who fuck together.
Yes, absolutely they do. And then there are two boys that fuck and our gay boys together and justify it somehow with their religion and can live with themselves being like the major religious figures in their town. I love it. I aspire for that kind of assurance.
It is wonderful. So Connie asks Tom how he's enjoying it, and Tom says the sentence, "Sometimes I think I'm having more fun than the kids who come." What he doesn't say is that the Timothy Center is like jazz. It's more about the kids who don't come.
This is an audio medium, but if you could see Snip's face, it's
I don't
incredulous.
Understand. What does that mean? Much like jazz?
It's more about the kids who don't come. You know, but they say about jazz, it's more about the notes you don't play.
I've never, okay. I don't think I've ever heard that phrase before. I knew I was missing a very important piece of information, judging by the way that you two are looking at me like I'm an idiot. Like, I should know something.
I don't think I knew any more than you did, but this is just a really funny response.
Okay, see, this is just, I've been betrayed here. Okay, we'll move on. We've got to quickly recover from this before we ruin our relationship mid-show. The interview starts going badly almost immediately when Tom lets on very subtly that they don't have a whole lot of money.
Yeah, because Connie keeps asking about these projects they're going to do, and he's like, we're delaying that one. And we're delaying that one, too. And he's really reluctant to say that cancellations are causing money problems. And Connie also, she works at Whit's End, but she also at this point works at the Timothy Center. So, understandably, she freaks the fuck out on live radio about getting laid off.
So she is financially implicated. What was she? Yeah. What was her role at the Timothy Center?
I don't know.
Just
the same,
general help?
The same probably as her role at Whit's End, just ambiguous helper.
Eye candy?
Just like eye candy. Yeah, it's what is the role of any woman in this world?
Store assistant.
Titty queen. Yeah, one of those.
Okay.
Yeah. So Tom minimizes the problem, of course, because Connie's an emotional woman. He's like, it won't come to that. And so Connie's like, well, I don't know what else to ask. And Tom's like, okay, we'll be done after 3 minutes. Another excellent episode of Candid Conversations with Connie.
I love that the way that Tom ends the interview is, maybe that's enough for now. I wrote that down. I love that. Anytime that I want to end a conversation, it's just, maybe that's enough for now.
I mean, they do say brevity is the soul of wit.
Is it? We're 38 minutes into it, and we're 2 wits, 1 cup. So.
Okay, so then they switch scenes from Connie's show to Whit's End. I am going to request a fact check at the beginning of this scene because Whit declares that broadcasting your radio show on somebody else's radio frequency is illegal. And I want to fact check that. I'm not sure about that.
Do you have your broadcasting license?
Again, that's later, Pidge. You keep skipping ahead.
Oh,
gotta stay
but Pidge, because of transitioning. Do you have your broadcasting license yet? Your bra? Yeah?
No, the application has still yet to come back.
Okay. I can't find an easy answer to your question, Snip, and I'm not interested enough in it to keep digging, so let's just keep going and say, now we are with Mr. Whitaker and Bethany Shepard, and they're listening to the broadcast as it's ending. Bethany's parents work at the Timothy Center, that's important. But then something happens.
It gets interrupted by test 1 2 3, test 1 2 3 from a mysterious, almost what's the word?
Diabolical.
Oh, sure, diabolical voice. I was gonna go for like an even cadence or like a monosyllable. But
monotonous.
Monotonous. Thank you. Just going test 1 2 3.
But the person says Novacom transmission test.
Oh, that's right.
We got to get that word Novacom in there.
Novacom? I've never heard of Novacom.
Yeah. But, of course, Mr. Busybody himself, John Avery Whitaker, it interrupts his transition. Transition is page, transmission is radio. Okay. But Whit, it's very convenient that he's like, well, I have to look into it because it's my radio signal. Because as we know, Whit makes everybody's business his business. And that's right when Connie and Tom come in. They just left the studio, which is at Whit's end. And Tom's like, I wish you hadn't brought it up. Even though she was literally just asking questions on her radio program about candid conversations.
You know, I kind of feel like it's one of those things like, yeah, Tom, you got caught mid-interview. Is it the interviewer's fault? No, absolutely not. You needed a better PR spin on why those projects were getting put off. Oh, yeah, the projects are getting put off because we're focusing on financial responsibility. You know, Dave Ramsey. Stewardship. Yes, exactly. The Timothy Center is exclusively a debt-free business exploration. We're going into it with all of God's might and faithfulness, and that's how we're going to get through it, not through any practical means, which will come up again.
I mean, do you think the Timothy Center could have benefited from the envelope system?
Perhaps.
I mean, they wouldn't be in financial ruin then. You gotta stick to your envelopes. Your piles.
Oh, the envelope system. Yes. Okay. It took me a second to realize what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
What? You don't have a Dave Ramsey lore just running about in your head?
No, it's Adventures in Odyssey for us. But
Yeah.
I'm glad you can bring the Dave Ramsey perspective, because I think that's going to be important in this podcast.
Tom and Connie come up to Whit and Bethany as they're at the ice cream counter, and then Bethany starts going, is the Timothy Center going to close? I've got $4.62 in my piggy bank. I can lend it to you at 5% APY in 2000.
I wasn't paying attention to APYs in 2000.
What a loan shark.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for giving me some, because I don't know anything about that. Thank you for giving me context.
She said, I have $4.62 in my piggy bank. I will loan it to you at 5%.
Yeah. And Tom goes, that's very capitalistic, and he loves it.
No, Tom goes, wow, the innocent sweetness of a child.
Does he
And I don't think that's the lesson. Well, he basically asserts like, oh, Bethany, so sweet that you would sacrifice your own money.
But then Tom goes, do you see what you've done here, Connie? You're going to throw my employees into a panic. And as we'll see, the best thing about living in Odyssey is you can always blame Connie Kendall. No matter what you've done, you can blame Connie Kendall. It's always Connie's fault.
And Tom's solution to, my employees are going to be panicked because Bethany is going to go home and make her family aware of this public broadcast. And so Tom's solution is like, don't tell your parents.
Yes, he says you don't need to tell your folks about this. And I'm
this is a man that works with children professionally. I know.
Oh, God, the way he said it was as if they were trying specifically to portray, like, a stranger danger situation, but that we're supposed to see Tom as good. Oh, my God. Ugh. That was an icky for Tom. We're still pro Tom, but that was an icky.
It is definitely one of what will be many opportunities for us to consider the moral ambiguity of Adventures in Odyssey.
Yes, absolutely. But so also Connie keeps coming up with these ideas for how to save the Timothy Center, but Tom's like, drop the subject. He does not want to talk about it. He doesn't want to ask for help. He doesn't want to pretend like it's an issue. So Whit, obviously, seeing that Tom would like out of the situation and being deeply in love with Tom, he steps in and he's like, Tom, have you ever heard of Novacom? But the way he says it, I don't know. It just struck me. He says it in a tone like he's asking Tom, have you ever heard of a double-ended dildo? And Tom has heard of double-ended dildos, but he has not heard of Novacom. But Whit says it's the third time Novacom has cut in.
Tom doesn't seem super concerned about Novacom. I, being a Tom stan, am following his lead. And, well, are we still Tom stans? We said it at the beginning of the show, but we've had a lot of criticism for Tom. Okay.
Yeah.
As a Tom stan, then I'm just going to follow his lead and keep my cool for now. Novacom does it sound evil? Is Novacom, well, let's ask Pidge. Is Novacom inherently an evil name?
It sounds innocuous, so I'm not entirely sure. It's just putting up, yeah.
So it's probably right to keep our suspicions at a level-headed point.
Yeah.
Whit is right to be a little bit suspicious, but let's keep it mid with Tom right now.
Okay, I do want to bring up this point now that we're talking about Tom and Novacom. Novatom, is that something? Clues?
Well, we'll just have to listen to the series and find out if it's really Nova Tom. He's the kingpin. Mm-hmm. I was going to say the pinhead, but that was the opposite of what I was trying to say.
Who you calling Pinhead?
As we'll see later in this episode, Tom is kind of a responsible party in this whole thing. But Tom tells Whit to go check with City Hall about Novacom because that's a register of new businesses, and that makes Whit so horny. Whit being able to put his nose in other people's business is like swing. That erection is throbbing against the front of his pleated khakis.
Yeah, and it was weird that, like, deep, heavy breathy, he went, yeah, I'll go to City Hall, Tom.
Yeah.
He's like looking forward to it. It's like
he loves it.
He's so happy.
Yes.
The busybody's off. I was going to move on to the next scene that we're at the Timothy Center now. Timothy Center.
I was going to say the titular Timothy Center, but the title of this episode is not the Timothy Center. But I like saying titular, so I think we'll leave it in.
All right, that's fine. So with the next scene starts with Connie walking up to Tom, who's working on his car, and then Connie is basically just like, you're bad at working on cars. This is another indication that you're poor. Yeah, and she's like, what the fuck are you doing, Tom? You suck at this shit. Yeah, this feels like it just directly translates into, you're bad at this, so stop doing it.
Which is fair.
Don't even bother getting better.
But then Bethany's dad, Ben, shows up, and he said he heard Thomas having financial problems. But don't worry, because he and his wife, Ellen, guess what they've been doing to help the situation?
Prayer.
Hell yeah.
We love interceding instead of money. Woohoo!
Prayer, more like gayer.
Hopefully they remembered the order that you're supposed to pray. Praise, repent, ask, and yield, I think.
I believe that's right. There's also the axe system, but it's like adoration, contrition, because you have to tell Jesus how naughty you've been.
Substantiation.
Transubstantiation. You turn yourself into the body of Christ, and then supplication. So anyway, that's what Ben has been doing with his wife Ellen. And also Ben says that the money problems that the Timothy Center is having could just be a wake-up call from God so that they can learn that they can't do the Timothy Center on their own. They need to rely on God more.
Yeah, if you don't have enough money, you just don't believe in God enough. That's your problem.
It was kind of misleading to me. The way that he was building up to it made me feel like he was going to say, we need to trust other people to help. We need to rely on community. And then he just says, we need to trust God more. So I don't know.
What does it look like practically? That's
yeah.
my
Is
question.
there a point where I'm trusting God enough to get like money coming my way, and like, do I need to trust God a bit even more to increase the flow of revenue?
Right.
I'm not sure how this works.
I feel like the best way to trust God in this situation is to sit your ass on the couch in your robe, eat tons of sour cream and onion ruffles, and when your spouse asks if you're going to go to work, you just go, no, I'm trusting God, waiting on the Lord.
It's interesting that this case, the trust in God is the choice. Obviously, a hard work ethic is very important to these people as well. It's another moral ambiguity of Adventures in Odyssey that it's fine for these people just to sit back and wait, but not anybody else in society.
Yeah, maybe if that's when people get mad at people who maybe don't currently have a job or whatever, just instead of saying that you're unemployed, just say you're waiting on the Lord.
Hey man, back off. I'm trusting God.
There's a season for everything.
There is, and I'm just in a season of finding God right now, and I can't be
I'm in a
distracted.
season of waiting on my investments to accrue more interest.
Hell yeah. I'm waiting for the Lord to guide me to the right job.
To the right pay level.
Exactly. But okay, so Tom agrees with Ben. He should wait on the Lord, and he's like, that's exactly what I was thinking. We shouldn't make a big deal about it, Connie.
Yeah, were they really like saying that Connie's approach was wrong? So basically Connie is like, we should do a fundraiser. We should do like an event, a couple-day event at this center that is already set up for people to have fun. And just use that as an opportunity to raise funds to keep the center going, because people love the center in Odyssey. They love it. They love Tom. They loved Timothy. It's a great sob story to get people to donate. So then she just declares, leave it to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Before we get there, it is interesting that she's like, the reason that we don't have money is because we haven't been people haven't been interested in doing events at our center. So to raise money, we should do an event.
These people delude themselves into thinking that it'll work for them. But it
just might work for us.
Another event. It'll absolutely help.
And then she does say we should pray and then get off our knees and do something.
Yeah, I knew you would catch the specific phrasing of get off my knees or get off our knees.
Because this is a queer investigation of Adventures in Odyssey.
Gay!
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 And of course Tom says, I'd rather not talk about this anymore, Connie. But
he's trusting God.
She keeps on going. She's like, our faith should be a faith of action. And Tom's like, I don't disagree, but let's not do anything.
But I'm not going to do anything, yeah.
Just because I'm trusting God doesn't mean we have to publicly discuss my finances.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. But then Aubrey, who's Ben's other daughter, she's a teenager who is not a Christian. That's important. She shows up and is like, another group canceled because they scheduled for the same weekend as the school fair, and church is not cool enough to skip the school fair.
What an indictment.
Yeah, I know, right?
How cool is that fair?
I know. Connie she's calling out Tom for trying to avoid the problem, points out how there's ways to solve it, and also it doesn't just affect him, it affects her, it affects the shepherds. She's like, Tom, you're being a dick. And we hate that for Tom.
Yeah.
But sometimes
how long has he been hiding this?
Right? He's like, he doesn't want to ask for help. I don't understand. Like, he'll pray to God asking for help, but
particularly financial help. That's a different kind of help. Very harsh judgment calls are made upon people asking for money, and so it is just better. You just gotta rely on God. He'll come through. You can't ask for anything.
No,
I do think
you ask for things by saying that you've been praying about them and hope people get the hint.
What if it's an unspoken prayer request?
We'll have time for unspokens at the end here.
Tom is stonewalling hard, though, so far this episode. And if I was Connie, I would be very freaked out by that.
Yeah, definitely. Tom clearly has some stuff. Our boy he needs to work on some things. We still love him, but he could do well with some therapy.
I mean, he did lose a child.
That's true. And as we will find out, he is losing his wife. There's a lot of ambiguous loss in his life with his wife specifically.
What spoiler purse?
No, that's not very much spoiler.
See, my spoiler wasn't that much of a spoiler, but Paige didn't. I said Novacom. You said Tom's wife is sick.
I didn't say that. I said there's ambiguous loss in his wife's situation.
Oh.
You just
Pigeon, don't listen. Pigeon, don't listen.
It's okay. It's all clear. It's all clear.
Anyway, so
what's that? I came back into the room. What were you talking about?
Okay, so Tom hesitantly is like, fine, Connie, you can do something. So that's that scene, right? We're done with that scene?
Yeah.
Now let's go to City Hall.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's get another fact check. Is there such a thing as a broadcasting license that's issued from City Hall?
Broadcasting license.
Because that's why we're here at City Hall, is to check the broadcasting license of
because I felt like any schmuck with a ham radio could just be broadcasting on empty wavelengths, right?
I don't. Well, I do think you might need to have a license. It maybe depends on the state, but I think you would apply for that through the FCC, not through your local.
Especially if you're going
government.
to be running, audio and potentially getting ad revenue from it. You would think you would need to have some sort of regulation there, right?
You would think so. I don't know. I'm guessing you do it through the FCC, not your local city hall. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know a whole lot about broadcast law.
All right, so we've got them possibly 0 for 2 on fact checks this episode.
Yes.
Okay, so
Whit's at City Hall talking to some guy who we don't know who this guy is. Just some dude.
Yep.
I think his name is Chip.
His name is Chip, but he sounds like Chris Pratt.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Chip Pratt.
Chip, who sounds like Chris Pratt, explains that Novacom recently applied for its broadcast license, and it's also bought a bunch of buildings all over town. And Whit, of course, is like, I can't believe I didn't hear about this, because he doesn't think that anything should be allowed to happen in Odyssey without his prior approval. Fucking Whit. We love Tom, but we hate Whit. We should say that.
I do love the fact that the first time that we're introduced to them, that they're like, yeah, they're landlords. That should be our first hitting home. Like, these are bad people. They're landlords already. Whit didn't even know about it.
They don't even live here, and they're buying up all the property. Scoundrels.
But then Chip goes, I heard Dale Jacobs, who's the town newspaperman, wanted to do an article, but couldn't get info or even an interview, which, okay. I am in the newspaper business. I'm high up, I can't join the union because I'm management. I'll just say that. That's not weird. If you're starting a new business, you're busy. You don't have time to do an interview. And but then Chip says that the company that recently bought the Odyssey Times told him to drop it. Because there could be no reason for being like, hey, you're a reporter who spent all week trying to, get in contact with this company. Why don't we, instead of them continue to do that fruitless endeavor, cover the city commission? That's not that weird. But to Whit, it's like, yikes, they are bad.
Or maybe use his talents for something more useful, like advertising the Timothy Center and its need for fundraising.
No, he's got his hands full with Novacom being business competition, because I do think that is what is behind everything that Whit does in this episode and several episodes to come.
Mm-hmm. So are we done at City Hall? Is there anything else?
We're done at City Hall. All
right, then we go somewhere ambiguous.
I'm guessing it's the shepherd's house.
I couldn't quite figure out where we were.
Well, so we're with Ben and Aubrey and Bethany. And Aubrey's complaining about how they'll be poor, and Bethany is making a list of 10 things she can do to save money, and they're fucking stupid ideas, because she's 6 and she's a stupid bitch.
Mm-hmm. And the teenager is the very much like, oh, I'm a whiny teenager and I hate everything, and so I'm going to be the annoying character that's just negative all the time. Because in Odyssey, all children are pure, perfect angels, and then as soon as they become teenagers, they become antagonistic.
Especially if they're non-Christian, and Aubrey, as we must point out, is not Christian. Her family is Christian, but Aubrey is not.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what an insolent little bitch.
I know, right? We should kill her, probably. Ben keeps saying, Aubrey, we're not going to be poor because we're praying. Duh.
God wouldn't let us be poor. He couldn't let people like us be poor.
We're white Americans.
Yeah. And, checkmate, I've been praying for you to get a raise.
Oh, yeah, Aubrey, yeah, she's like, I've been praying for you to get a raise. But Ben's like, that's not how prayer works.
That doesn't count. Why?
Yeah, exactly. But he also doesn't offer an alternate answer about how prayer works either. He's just like, that's not how it works.
It's just not that. I can't tell you how I get these things, but it's not that way.
It's not that. Okay.
So, so far in this episode, though, we've had 2 scenes that men are just very confidently declaring what God's intention is for a scenario, and both times being wrong.
Is prayer Is answer to prayer white male privilege? Because the white men seem to get their prayers answered a lot more. So maybe prayer is just privilege.
And I thought the power of prayer was in the asking, not in the receiving. It's about the sentiment. It's about crying out for help. It's not that you get the help, right?
Does prayer change God, or does it change us? Makes you think. But Aubrey wants to be proactive like Connie, but Ben keeps saying praying isn't doing nothing. But then Connie shows up because she's going to throw a big bash with speakers and bands to raise money for the Timothy Center. Again, an event to save their event center that can't get anyone to book an event, which is great.
I hate to call you out, but bands? Are you sure it's not just one guy with a guitar leading worship for 2 nights?
He is the headliner, okay, because Connie says bands.
Put some respect on that name.
It's a festival. It's like Warped Tour, but better, okay? Also, there's this little nugget where Connie expects the Timothy Center employees to volunteer so they can save their jobs.
Yeah, I'm gonna help out at this place and not get paid. Just 'cause I want it to stay open. I want to keep working here for no money.
And he's going to use his dead son to make me feel bad if I don't volunteer my time to keep this place open.
Right, and gaslight you about your faith in the Lord and
because God wants the Timothy Center open.
Right, exactly. So Aubrey continues making snide but very fair comments about prayer, and Ben keeps going, no, prayer will work. And then, Connie asks Ben to lead worship. Next scene, we meet a brand new character to Odyssey.
This character is wonderful. Tyler immediately was like, this is clearly the bad guy. They've got a British accent.
Yes.
It follows the trend of that time, and it's like the early 2000s still hadn't quite gotten rid of that. It's like, okay. Here's the bad guy. Oh, and his name is Arthur? Oh, God.
Arthur Dent, which is the name of the main character in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh. Ooh.
Yeah.
Was that on purpose? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think so. But here's my thing. Here's my thing. I truly believe this. I think Arthur Dent is coded gay. Because British, he's posh, he's evil. He works for a media company that Whit thinks is inappropriate for children and families. In a later episode, we'll find out that he thinks nutrition is important. He kind of has like a breathy voice.
Fellas, is it gay to care about getting all your vitamins and minerals?
Yeah.
No. It's only gay if you really care about your fiber intake, because you're a bottom. Pidge?
I don't know what just happened to them.
I lost it. Don't worry.
Okay, great.
Pidge just went straight in for the microphone really confidently and then got like a sour face and then just kind of slowly moved off camera. Just for context. Okay, so he's obviously kind of sus. He loves
who does Arthur Dent work for?
For Novacom, naturally. Hey, I'm Arthur Dent. I'm the new businessman in town. I would love to pick your brain about the people here, what is important to them, how I can manipulate them to give me their money.
And you're really good at
it. Yeah, because you're really good at it. One capitalist to another. What's your secret?
Exactly. Yeah, he's like, I love kids radio, and I've heard so much about Whit, and he's just really buttering him up, and he's like just rubbing butter all over Whit's big belly.
I do think that it's important that Adventures in Odyssey is distinct, that though they are both capitalists, though they are both hella gay, they are very different leagues of morality. Whit is God tier, S tier, and Arthur Dent is British.
Find yourself an F tier.
Yeah, and Mr. Dent is like, we're in the same business, you and I, entertaining kids. And Whit's like, no. I also teach them about the Bible. And you could definitely, I love Arthur Dent's response is also, again, why I think he's coded gay. Because he's like, cool, yes. He's like, you know.
Yeah, because talking about the Bible on a radio show just isn't indoctrination. It's not propaganda. It's not the same thing.
But whenever I try to quote the gay Bible, all these kids start throwing things at me.
Yeah. Which the Gay Bible is a Novacom publication, I believe. Probably.
I thought that it was just the script of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Well, yeah, Novacom developed that show for syndication.
Oh,
Yeah.
for
That's
kids.
a Novacom property.
Got it.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Man, monopolies are out of control in this country.
They truly are. Well, it is Novacom. And as we know, Novacom is the most evil organization to ever exist on the planet.
Yeah.
For no reason than just being evil? Question mark?
We'll find out
We'll
more about their motivations and plans, but for now, the only thing we know is that it's pure evil. We don't
And they
know
want
why.
to buy land to put a radio tower up. Ugh,
Yeah.
the gall.
Right. Yes. Although I do just a few other little notes from this conversation that are so fucking weird. Novacom chooses Odyssey as its test market for what will go out nationally and internationally. Odyssey, fucking USA. That is the perfect sample size of humanity.
That is really bizarre, too, that for a place that absolutely hates anybody that's not from Odyssey, as definitely shown in Connie's entrance to Odyssey, yeah, they're a good test market for what the rest of the world is going to be wanting to do.
They don't hate you if you're not from Odyssey. They hate you if you're not from Odyssey and you're not willing to immediately become a Christian.
Oh, my bad. I misunderstood. So yeah, then Arthur suggests doing, he is like conveniently like, oh, I think that we should want to place this radio tower in this area. Do you know who might own this area? And then Whit goes, actually, I do. That's my best friend / lover in the nighttime.
Yeah, he definitely goes.
Twirls his
Oh,
mustache.
yes, I know him.
As if you don't think I'm best friends with the Register of Deeds in this town.
You think I'm not familiar with Tom Riley's property?
Tom, wait, I got a good one. Tom Riley. More like Tom Ride Me. Am I right?
Yay. Nice. That was good. I feel like we could have saved that for episode 3, but
I'm going to cut it and put it in the intro.
Mr. Dent says that Novacom wants to buy or lease part of Tom Riley's land for a, quote, handsome price.
Handsome.
Dent gives Whit his card, but then he accidentally lets slip that he knows Tom Riley's name, and Whit is like, what the fuck? What is happening? Why do you know his name? Why do you know this publicly available information? Whit is so unnecessarily suspicious this entire meeting. Mr. Dent is being nothing but kind and helpful and ingratiating, and Whit is being such a fucking bitch. It's great.
Hey, how dare you, as a representative of the company, look into the property that you're trying to acquire? Ugh, how dare you?
Yeah. Mr. Dent's like, well, yeah, we do our research. And then Witz goes, goodbye. He's like, I'll talk to him.
No. What? No. The scene ends in a much more classic way. In a very, obviously, this episode was recorded in 2000. Arthur Dent has to leave because he got a page.
Yes, that's true. That really timestamps this. It's great.
And I also love that one of the benefits of Novacom was that they have they broadcast on the internet, but that was only mentioned like fourth in a list of like radio, TV,
digital
and, like, print or something.
satellite.
Yeah, digital satellite.
Yeah, but it's one of the things about Adventures in Odyssey is like a lot of shows you can like see technology. Adventures in Odyssey, we don't have that, so there are little Easter eggs that we can only hear and that are directly written into the script, and I think that's interesting. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and then Whit goes. He tells Mr. Dent that he'll talk to Tom, and then he goes, "Goodbye, Mr.
Goodbye.
Dent." Like so suspicious. Arthur. All right, next scene.
Timothy Center.
Yeah, Whit is telling Tom about Novacom's offer, and both of them are like, yay, prayer works. But Whit is being such a fucking little stick in the mud. Stick in Tom's
Isn't
mud.
it great? That's so much money is about to come my way. It's a perfect answer to prayer. Isn't this exactly how God works?
This is
Yes.
what I needed.
This is how God works.
But then Whit's like, oh, I don't know. I got a weird feeling, Gay. Like something wasn't right. And Whit's like, Tom, tell me what you think of Mr. Dent. Tell me if you think he's a little,
Well, I'll tell you. When I met him, it felt like I had to pee, but I didn't have to pee. I didn't have to pee.
It's because the handle broke off the butt plug and it went way further in.
What's happening to me? No, so they start talking about this agreement. What is it that brought up the suit? Something about Tom needing to wear a suit.
Yeah, Connie wants him to make sure he wears a suit when he meets Mr. Dent, and then Connie's like, "You do have a suit, right?"
She's like, Tom, you have negative drip. Do not wear that suit. I swear to God.
She says, and I quote, "A suit from a recent decade, no stripes," and then she's like, "Don't have any shine to it." Way to
Made
really
of fabric that
dampen
doesn't
his
shine.
sparkle. Yeah, let that man be the little light that he is.
Yes, what she is describing is the suit that Lady Gaga would wear if she was being working professional mom Barbie, right?
Yeah, this clip is directly for Tom. Tom, if you're listening, do not let Connie you out. Do not let her.
Yeah.
Connie will try to you out. Don't let that little light of yours go out.
Yeah, that little gay light, yeah.
Get that little gay spark.
Yeah, you might not be able to hide it under the bushel, but you could definitely try to hide it in the bush.
Bush. Oh, and it was 2000.
Bush. Oh, December.
This
He'd
was
been
after the election trip, but was it
Yeah.
before the Florida decision?
Oh my god. Well, let's find out.
Is this whole series just a parallel for the conspiracies about Bush?
Yes.
We, the American people, are wet.
Oh my god. This was right before it. Okay, when did they announce it? They announced
Amazing.
it. Fuck. Why doesn't it say? I don't know. It was like right before it. Bush had kind of been elected, maybe. I don't know. That's
Incredible.
We should do on this day in history. Oh. Well, we'll do that later.
I thought we didn't want to date the podcast.
No,
could do it
on
when the
that day.
episode came
on
out.
December 2nd, 2000.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, Whit is being a total buzzkill about this wonderful news, them getting exactly what they need.
Perse, I'm going to ask you a context question because you remember more about the details and lore about Adventures in Odyssey than I do. Isn't Whit, like, super loaded?
Yes. Yes.
Why
he is.
isn't he funding this?
Because they need to learn to trust God.
That seems irresponsible. It seems like Whit being rich is the solution to the problem.
Yeah, why can't you ask your... I was like, why can't you ask your community members to come out and help? Isn't that God working through
No.
him? Or no?
No, you have to trust God to tell them intuitively. You can't ask them. They have to come to you.
But it's not a feeling. We don't trust our feelings.
Never.
We hear God's voice, but it sounds like our voice, but it's not a feeling.
No. There is that line from the hymn, you ask me how I know he lives within my heart, but it's not a feeling. It's real knowledge.
Sounds like you got tapeworms, bud. In your heart.
Tom says, I don't use that land. It'd be fine to put a tower there. And Connie goes, I don't care what Novacom puts up there if it saves the Timothy Center. God damn it, Connie. And now I'm doing it.
What?
Now I'm blaming Connie. She cursed this whole thing.
Yeah.
She jinxed
It does seem selfish to be like, even though we got the money from a different means, we're still going to ask people to give us money.
Yeah. That's I think that's a later scene.
I mean, you have to think about the long-term value of this investment of the Timothy Center. Think of the lives. Think you have to sustain that.
No, what it is that it's the same scene, but they just cut the scene in the middle, and they're like, days passed.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then Connie comes back and then is like, oh, wow, isn't it crazy that all of this happened so fast and that they're already building the tower?
We're not there yet because we have a super
Where
pointless scene. Well, we're at the end of this. Anyway, yeah, Tom is just like, yeah. Or no, Tom says, it sounds like an answer to prayer. And Whit's like, yes, it sure does. Because he's fucking pissed that Novacom's getting its way. He's like going to say it's a prompting of the Holy Spirit, but it is business competition that he does not want.
Yeah, is he just mad that he couldn't cut off his own little bit from the top of the fundraising? He wanted to be the one to help coordinate that, take Whit's cut, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think this has everything to do with him. His motivations are purely selfish.
Where did his hoard come from?
I don't know if we'll find out.
Well, then it's leaving me to speculate, and I'm just going to assume some skimming from the Timothy Center. Okay. I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm just throwing out some suggestions.
Okay, fair enough. So now we have a totally pointless scene, except for this scene is totally pointless unless they are trying to contract a threesome, because Dent and Tom they're like, okay, we'll do it. After the previous scene when Tom says, okay, I'll do it. So we have a scene of them going, okay, I'll do it. And then Mr. Dent says, this is the beginning of a long-lasting relationship between us. And Tom goes, I sure hope so. And it's like, and then the scene's over. It's like 15 seconds.
It's like, I signed a contract. That's it. I hope we have a relationship.
Yeah, but it sounds like that. Obviously, Tom can tell Mr. Dent is coded gay, and he wants to get him into the bedroom to spice things up with Whit a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the next scene, I believe this is our final scene of the episode. Tom, Whit, Connie, and Ben are all checking out the tower, and it's getting built very quickly. And Connie's like, I can't believe how fast everything moved. Timothy Center
Did they get a permit to build that fence? Was that in the contract? Did you make sure?
Skipping ahead again.
You're skipping ahead. But yeah, Tom and Connie says the Timothy Center will be set for a long time because guess what? She's still fucking doing her fundraiser. And she says it's going to raise more money than leasing the land did.
Why take one solution to your problem when you could double it?
Right. And then you don't have a problem.
Yeah, because that's definitely not like financial scamming. This is definitely not a white collar crime in like most other cases. To be like, we have this much money that we need, and then to get that much money donated or given to you by two different sources feels pretty scummy.
Yeah, but you're turning a problem into profit. So
I'm sure that was God's solution.
Probably. Okay, so during this conversation, Whit is distracted, and Tom is like, Whit? And
we're out here on my property, and I'm not going to miss an opportunity to make dog eyes at you, and the two of us can slowly lean in together and kiss while this radio tower's being built.
But you never pay attention to me, Whit. So Whit is like, he's suspicious about the fact that, Pidge, will you tell us, what is Whit upset about?
What? They don't have to grant permits for that? Did you let them know that they could put up a fence? That doesn't seem right. I thought they just said it was a radio tower.
Whit is so fucking pissed about this fence, and Tom goes, I don't know, seems like a good thing for safety. But Whit...
Yeah, there's just construction equipment and kids running around. Why would you want to be concerned about safety?
Yeah. Yeah. And Tom, though, like a good life partner or long-term roommate, he can tell that Whit thinks that Tom is making the wrong decision. And he's like, I just have this odd feeling, Gay. But then he's like, I would have done the same thing you did, Tom. And Tom says, we prayed and this came along. Isn't that how God works? And Whit says this incredible line, I don't pretend to be an expert on how God works.
You do.
Yes, you fucking do. That's what Adventures in Odyssey is based on.
Literally, you said at the beginning of this that you have your ice cream shop, Wit's End, to like entertain children and teach them about the Bible.
Yes.
Yeah, but I don't know anything about God. I'm just a layperson.
So fucking stupid.
So stupid. Whit, we know what you are. Come on, Whit. We know what you are. Don't talk to us like we don't know, okay? Mr. Whitaker, Avery, John Avery.
You're a secret agent with an ice cream shop and a time travel machine.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me you don't know a thing or two about God?
So the scene ends very spooky. I got the exact quotes. Whit says, "There's no point in second guessing the decision. It's done. Now all we can do is see how it plays out and have faith that even if we made a mistake, that God will work through it." And Tom fucking goes, "But we pay for our mistakes, Whit." And Whit goes, "I know. That's why I hope I'm wrong."
I do need some religious clarity on that too. What do they mean we pay for our mistakes?
I don't know if they're just talking about natural consequences.
Yeah. Or just like business practice. Like, of course, like the business is going to be liable if this is a mistake.
Yeah. But obviously they don't pay for their sins because Jesus
Yeah.
is going to take all of those and they're off the hook.
The basis of your religion is that you don't have to pay back. So what do you mean, Tom? What are you talking about?
Consequences in this life.
I think the gay has gotten to his brain, and now he's really confused about what he believes.
Yes. Well, speaking of confused, there is nothing more confused than the way Chris wraps up this episode for us. Because she just goes, "Who was right? Whit or Tom? Only time will tell." And then she goes on about, "There are people in the Bible, they took decisive action because they believed it was what God wanted. But sometimes they were wrong."
Yeah. Like, all we can do is the things that we should be doing. And then if we're not doing that, we should just pray.
Yeah.
So, like, there are two major conflicts in this episode, right? Of, like, what the right thing to do with the radio tower was. The other conflict is, do you do something whenever something comes up, or do you just blindly have faith in it? Chris is a coward. I'm going to say it here. Chris is a coward for not taking a stance on that.
She is. She says all we can do is our best because God's not going to fucking tell us what to do. She literally says we can only hope that God will reveal what he wants as time. We can only hope that God will reveal what he wants as time goes along. Besides that, there's not much more we can do besides pray, keep our hearts open, and wait.
Because we don't have to do anything. We don't have to follow through. We don't have to work for it.
The lesson is that we just have to wait for God, but also we should act decisively, but also just keep our fingers crossed that we're not wrong.
And we'll just know what God wants us to do because we'll hear from God, except that we'll all hear different things from God and we can't tell who's right.
Exactly. Like, I'm 31 years old. I have a Bible college degree. I am an ordained minister, and I'm so fucking confused about what we're supposed to learn from this lesson. What is a kid supposed to take from it?
I was so confused. As someone that hasn't listened to this stuff, I was anticipating a bit more of a moral lesson. Maybe not like a VeggieTales kind of way, but at least something to extract. What am I supposed to learn? Like, don't make shady business dealings with the company trying to buy some of your land until you've read the contract all the way through and discussed it with your gay lover.
And if there's a fence, no fucking way.
No need to look up OSHA regulations.
Yeah. So I don't understand this. Whit keeps talking about his weird feeling. Was that the Holy Spirit? And if so, why wasn't the Holy Spirit fucking talking to Tom? He was the one making the decision. Like, why does Whit get the weird feeling?
Well, do you think that it's possible that it's saying, like, if you are stonewalling and refusing to, like, talk through these things with your friends, then you're less likely to hear from the Holy Spirit?
No, I don't think it is saying that, because I think we're supposed to think that Tom was right to stonewall and just be like, oh, we'll just pray and ask God. I don't think they want Tom to ask for help.
I mean, I guess the question is, whose conviction do you trust? Whose discernment takes precedence?
Arthur Dent's. That's who I trust.
The other question, following off of what you said, Pidge, why the fuck is God doing this to them? Putting them in a situation where they both feel like they're right and that they're doing what God wants, and he is not making it clear.
Yeah, he hasn't let the mistake be known yet. He's going to let this play out. He's going to let... presumably people get hurt. Like,
A
things are gonna
lot of
happen.
terrible shit is gonna happen.
Yeah, a lot of things are gonna happen. So,
Like, part of me wonders if the writers are trying to set up, like, no, God's answer was the community paying for the Timothy Center, and it was Tom's mistake to not accept that answer from God and go to Andromeda. But it doesn't feel like that's the lesson. I mean, it doesn't. I
don't think it. I don't know. And the fact that we can't figure it out as adults is bad, because this show is for kids 8 to 12.
Correct. But there was like one person that exclusively made good points in this episode and wasn't overly obnoxious and was like generally pretty helpful and not scummy. And that's the non-Christian, Aubrey.
Yeah. Well, Connie wasn't terrible either.
You just complained about Connie. You were like, oh, now I'm jumping on the anti-Connie bandwagon.
Fine. All right. I don't even remember why I said it.
Ooh, I win.
Okay. So do you want to get into our discussion questions from AIO Wiki?
Absolutely.
Okay. And these are good questions, and the fact that they're discussion questions and that they are not clear answers for children is buck wild. Okay, question number 1. Why did Novacom's offer seem like an answer to prayer to Tom and Connie?
Because it was a literal answer to their problem.
they said, God, I need money. And then someone says, hey, I got some money.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to say no? Is that the devil tempting me?
Yeah, apparently we're supposed to also learn that you can pray for something. It will seem like God is answering your prayer, but then surprise, it might not actually be God. Like you can pray for something and God's going to fuck with you first.
Also, God is very pro-private property.
That too, yes. So why do you think Whit was wary of Novacom?
Because they were different.
They're different, and they are going to be a competitor with him, as we will see.
Wasn't like a technological malfunction with the broadcast or something? Like there was like
They interrupted.
there was just something of like
it was accidental, and Mr. Dent is like, we fixed it. It won't be a problem anymore.
yeah. So he's like, oh, you're already starting off on the wrong foot.
But yeah, Whit should have just been like, okay, cool. You fixed the problem. No more issue here. But no.
He's such a jovial, nice guy about other people doing things. Like, I seem to remember Connie messing up quite a bit whenever she first started and actually putting some kids in danger. And then Whit was like, oh, she'll learn. You know, everybody grows. Mm-hmm. And then Arthur Dent shows up, and then Whit's like, not everybody grows.
Not a British man. Not a British man who's clearly gay. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't actually know how to answer this question, which I think shows some growth for me. What are some situations in the Bible where people acted when they weren't sure what God's will was? I don't know.
It seems in the Bible they got much clearer responses from God than we do now.
Right. That's the thing, is I couldn't think of any, because I don't know if there are any. Because they spoke to God, or they put out, they got dreams from God. They put out.
Sometimes dreams are a little bit ambiguous. I mean, the other night we were in bed, because I'll reiterate, Paige and I are a couple. We were laying in bed, and then Paige in their sleep just whispered, "Hell yeah."
That was a vision from God.
I have no recollection of what I was dreaming about, but apparently I was having a good time.
That's nice. That's really nice. Those are the discussion questions, and that's all I have planned for the episode.
Those are the whole discussion questions?
Those are the discussion questions.
Nothing about, like, the importance of putting action behind prayer, or, like... Wow.
It's just, were there other people in the Bible that didn't wait long enough for God to respond?
Yeah.
How'd that work out for them? What about David's children after he looked at Bathsheba? How'd that work out?
Ooh.
Went well if you weren't the first one. Solomon was great. It was great for Solomon. He fucking became the king.
Yeah. And got a pretty good reputation for
nothing.
Big dong and for being smart.
Yeah, but a lot of the shit he writes, not that great.
Yeah, but he's really horny for architecture.
And he's just really horny. But also, what is it, 300 wives and 600... Can we still say concubines?
I think that's allowed.
I prefer cuccubines.
Hell yeah. Oh, he just watches them. He watches the concubines get it. Oh, that's pretty gay. Look at us. Look at us being
Yeah.
gay. Who was
Gaying
the
it
gayest
up.
Who was the gayest character in this episode?
Pidge.
No, I mean in the Adventures in Odyssey episode.
Connie.
Connie, not Mr. Dent. Well, you got okay. Why Connie?
Because I only have gaydar for women.
Fair enough. And
Sorry.
Bethany and Aubrey are minors. So
Yeah.
okay.
I will say, Aubrey, lesbian name.
Such a lesbian name. Oh my god.
Such
yeah.
a lesbian name. Leo,
Yeah.
we were talking about this earlier. Leo is the trans mask name.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh yeah, Leo is very trans mask, but the ultimate like trans femme name is like Lily or
Lily.
River.
What about
Something.
oh River or
Those
Willow?
are very common. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sage, Wren, Harper.
Yeah.
They love the very flower names.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all I have prepared. Do we have anything else to talk about?
Should we close in gay prayer? This week we're going to be praying to Sigourney Weaver about Pidge. What are we going to be praying about?
We're going to be praying for questionable business contracts landing in my mailbox
Okay.
with an
great.
undisclosed amount of money.
Feel free to jump in, Pidge. I'll squeeze your hand when I'm done, and if you don't want to pray, just squeeze Snip's hand, and then Snip, if you'll wrap us up, that would be great.
I also think that we need to remember Pidge's unspoken prayer from earlier.
Thank you.
You know, I'll just label it. I don't want to give away too many details, but I am just gonna say testicular boils. Is that general enough?
Yeah, that's great for the unspoken.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
for the unspoken. Not theirs.
AMABs, please remove your hats. AFABs, as the Bible says, please keep your head covered.
And for the rest of you, just kind of put your hands in your pockets.
Put your ears on.
Yep. Well, we're holding hands because we have to squeeze our hands around the circle.
All right, take your hands out of your pockets. I'm so sorry, everyone.
Also, as anti-vaxxers, it's our duty to spread COVID as much as possible.
Yeah. Please lick your hands first, and once we're done, please lick your hands again.
Yep. And then sneeze into the person's mouth next to you.
Yes.
This is how we know the Holy Spirit is moving.
All right.
Our dearest, breastiest Sigourney Weaver, we just come to you today, Sigourney, and we just ask Sigourney that we have a lot of needs. We have a lot of needs. We have a lot of unspokens. And Pidge has a lot of unspokens specifically. Unspokens, as we know, are situations in which we are culpable but cannot legally discuss them openly.
Amen.
We just ask that you just swing in there, Sigourney, and you would just help out with those, and also there's a lot of
Yes,
financial
Sigourney.
needs in this community,
Yes,
And-
Sigourney.
and we just ask Sigourney, we just ask that you would show up, that you would just show up, show your face, nay, show us even your back as you did to Moses on the mount. And we just ask that you would show up specifically in the form of blank checks from anonymous sources in our mailboxes. And we just ask that you would show up and squeeze.
Oh, Holy Weaver, we come to you begging just for your intercession in these hard times. Your children are hungry. Your children have acres of undeveloped farmland just ready for development. Holy Weaver, if you please, give me a chance to read through the contract. I promise I will not let you down. Because I am faithful with little, you will entrust me with much. Thank you. Squeeze.
Our dear daddy, Sigourney Weaver. Our mother in heaven. Be with us here now. I feel your presence as well as several of the green ghosts from Ghostbusters here with us. And I'm just so glad and grateful for your presence. You know, I think of the majesty of your excellence in that end scene of Ghostbusters, which is the only movie that I can remember you were in. But as a gay person, it was so hot and so inspirational. And I would just like to thank you for everything that you've sacrificed for us. I would like to reiterate Pidge's unspoken prayer and its importance, and that check comes really soon, because the Timothy Center is about to close. We are not bankrupt, but we're about to be bankrupt. But don't tell my employees, Sigourney. Please don't tell my employees. In Sigourney Weaver's pure and beautiful name, we all say, whoop whoop!